All right, welcome inline skaters. I guess I've been skating long enough to be still a noob. Still remember falling and sucking at everything, and kind of being a little bit more confident now. So it's been like what 4 months. Uh, so there's two things in this video that I want to cover. Uh, One thing I'm going to cover is something that I have extensive experience and, like, I guess I'm a subject matter expert in, and then how that can be used in roller skating or rollerblading. And then the other thing I want to talk about is something that I struggled with that I wish I would have known when I first started. So, first thing, something that I have some subject matter experience and expertise in. And then the next thing, something that I've done through trial and error and uh, come to wish that this knowledge was given to a younger version of me when I first started. So let's start off with the first item. So some background. I've been doing a lot of grappling throughout my entire life. Started with wrestling, and then went into jujitsu, then did judo, and did jujitsu again. So I've probably got like 10 years plus, just constantly being tossed to the floor. Uh, I could honestly say I've been thrown to the ground probably more than 10,000 times, and I've yet to sustain any uh, uh, critical injuries, or most. I think the worst injury I've had while falling or being thrown was my ribs just being out of alignment and just feeling a little tight around the chest. But for the most part, I've had guys that were like 200 pounds, just throwing me in the air, giving me flying lessons, and you know, coming out of that unharmed. And so the first segment I want to talk about is falling. And in judo, before they teach you anything, they teach you how to fall. You need to be proficient in knowing how to not get injured while falling, because that's half of what you will be doing in grappling is being tossed to the ground. And to mitigate injury in that domain, you have to practice, and it has to become a reflex. There's not enough time when you're being thrown to decide how you want to land. It's got to be built into your central nervous system. It's got to be a reflex. And so um, I think that kind of you know that knowledge and usefulness in judo can also be, can overlap with rollerblading, because you're gonna fall. There's always gonna be that chance that you hit something with your wheels, like a rock. You get kicked. Your skates gets kicked out from underneath you. So learning how to fall is, I would say, probably the first thing you should learn. And I think throughout your entire life, it'll pay back dividends. There's so many times where you would fall, and um, you could potentially like hurt yourself. So knowing how to fall will not only help you in rollerblading, but it'll also uh, help in other domains in your life. And let's see. Okay, so let's take a look here. I'm doing this really shitty, but okay. So your wrist. So this is just a little bit of anatomy. There's a lot of ligaments in your wrist, and if you were to fall directly and try to extend your arm out to brace the fall, um, you're gonna injure. There's the potential chance that you're gonna injure a lot of ligaments in your wrist. Um, so ligament injuries typically last 6 months plus, and it's gonna hurt when you type, when you eat, when you open a bag of chips, drive. So it's important to protect your wrists. So learning how to avoid hurting your wrist when you fall is really important. Another thing that could happen is your elbow hyperextending. If you try to brace your fall with an extended arm, and all that force will travel up to your elbow, and you could potentially hyperextend or blow out your elbow. And so yeah, another ligament related injury. This is another 6 months to a year. Ligament injuries typically are lifelong. They'll never be as sturdy or as stable after they're injured. So these are pretty important things you want to protect. And so let's go. Where's the video? Oh, here it is. Okay, so let's get this started. Man, that wind. Okay, maybe we should mute this. Or we'll bring it down. Okay. So I'm gonna pause it here. So what I'm gonna show here is the front fall. So here, rather than try to bracing your fall with your hand extended, you want to create like a small triangle in front of you with your hands. Doesn't have to be a perfect triangle, just angle it inward just very slightly, and you want to fall from the entire length of your forearm, so from your elbow all the way to your wrist. Okay, so I'll demonstrate that here. Oh, another thing, when you're first doing this, do it on like a yoga mat or on the grass. I'm only showing it here as a demonstration of the effectiveness of knowing how to fall. And yeah, so let's keep going. So starting from the knees, another important thing, you want I pause it. I look kind of stupid here, but you want to face your head in the farthest left or right direction. So you don't want to be looking directly down. This is to avoid hurting that money maker. You don't want to grate your face to the floor. So you want to look away from the ground. Doesn't matter which way, just make sure you pick away, but don't look straight to the floor. Like that. Boom. Perfect. Okay. Another time looking the other way. Good. And eventually, when you feel comfortable, you can probably do it from the standing. So yep, looking to the left, looking to the right. Man, why is it all choppy? All right, I had to pause the recording at this point. I realized that trying to splice in the raw video in between every pause of the recorded video was becoming really problematic. So it's just I'm not really good at video editing. So what I'll do is I'll append the raw videos at the end so you can see how the actions are done much more fluidly. So all right, let's just continue from here. Okay. Okay, so this is the back fall. So this is when you have to fall backwards. So here you want to tuck your chin as deep as you can into your chest. You want to mitigate the risk of hitting your head to the floor. So you really want to cinch up all your muscles down so that your chin is touching your chest. And I'm doing that here. And you want to kind of propagate your arms outwards as you're falling to kind of dissipate more of that falling energy outward. I'll show it. I'll show it later. Give me a sec. Okay, from the sitting. Hitting the ground. Good. So important details. You want to keep your head tucked in, and you want to slap the ground with your arms. This is slapping the ground might hurt, but it kind of uh, so the idea is you dissipate more energy through your arms than you would through your vital core area of your body. Okay, so just jumping in. All right. Another important area you want to protect is your tailbone. So that's where the back fall becomes important. And so a lot of times when people injure their tailbone, it's because when they fall, they're not rolling or rolling to their back. And all that force starts and ends at the tailbone. So how the back fall works is instead of stopping at the tailbone, you roll to your back, and that should prevent injury to the tailbone. And I personally never injured my tailbone, so I can't imagine how painful it is. But I can imagine, 90% of your day, sorry, maybe like 60% of your day is spent sitting sometimes, right? Either you're driving, typing, eating, pooping, So, injuring your tailbone, not good. You definitely want to protect that. So that's where the back fall becomes essential. Yeah. Just doing it again. Okay. So this is the forward roll. Um this roll is very situational. If the front fall isn't applicable, like let's say you're going really fast, rolling out of a fall might be sometimes ideal. Um, so here I'm just showing the arm. You want to roll along the arm. So imagine if my hand touched the ground, I want to roll along up to the shoulder and then diagonally across the back and then down the leg. It'll make more sense when you see it. So tucking, hand touches, roll through. Important, slapping the ground. And you want to tuck your head also to your chest here. And here you can't really tell because I think the camera position is bad, but you want to keep your knees apart. Very important. If your top knee comes down and hits your bottom knee, it's very painful. So have one leg out and then have the other knee pointed up. Good. Just kind of more fluid. That's the that's what it looks like in the end. Here I'm just checking my wrist. I think I saw some lint. It was I thought I started to fray the wrist guard, but better than getting hurt. So going along the arm, cross diagonally across the back into the leg. Boom, nice. Okay, I think people are just watching me now. And I'm just okay. I was like, whatever. So here, just going through it one more time, just showing. This is cement, and it's not painful. You can do this all day. All right. So the next clip. So this is a downhill, and when I first started rollerblading, this was really dangerous for me. I think my objective was to learn to T-stop and be comfortable with it. But what ended up happening was sometimes the gradient of the hill was steep enough such that I was accelerating faster than I could brake. So I was continually gaining speed, and very scary when you're trying to slow down but you can't. And so this happened to me a few times, and I'm kind of lucky to not be dead. Uh, like the last time I remember, um, I was going so fast down this hill that I basically said, "Jesus, take the wheel," and luckily I was able to kind of like bail out before I hit a car. But I was going pretty fast down the hill, and that's terrifying. You have to make a decision. Are you going to pay tribute to the cement gods with skin and blood, or are you gonna die flying into traffic? So, knowing how to negotiate downhills is something that I wish I I had more guidance with instead of just trying to learn on my own. So T stop alone when I first started, I thought I was comfortable enough to do it to actually try it on the real thing, and I was wrong. So this is a little bit of more uh resources that you can use to ride downhills without ever getting to a point where you're losing control of your speed. Okay, so here I'm doing a Mohawk semi turn, and so what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna start a T slide, and the leg that's sliding behind is going to transform into a semi Mohawk turn, semi circle Mohawk turn. So boom, nice. And I'm not gaining any more speed, just semicircles all the way down. You could do this pretty much all the way down, and you're not gonna lose control of your speed. So you wanna always be within your braking speed threshold. If you exceed that speed that you feel comfortable braking, that's when bad things can happen. So here I'm just doing T slide to semicircle. I don't know what it's called, but I just do this whenever I'm going down a hill and there's people, or I want to just really control my speed. Just do baby little circles all the way down. And that's about it. So, two things. Um, Number one, knowing how to fall. I think not only in rollerblading, but in your personal lives, I think knowing how to fall is really important. So, practice, make it a reflex. And number two, baby T slide mohawk turns for downhills. Yeah. Cheers.